diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Everyone, happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. It's going to be a tough day. It's going to be a tough day today. So, no, dude, not now. I will get started here shortly. Dude, enough. I know you want attention, but my attention is going to be in other places today, and you're just going to have to be okay with that. I'm not sure what I'm going to read, what I'm going to do. I usually don't mind repeating, but today I do mind repeating. So I'm going to go warm up my coffee. Hopefully we'll get a couple of people here. If not, I'll probably get started around the 4-minute mark. We're at 2 minutes now, so we're halfway there. All right, I am back. Still not quite warm enough in here. Put on a hoodie for now. Can't live with regrets, man. Can't live with regrets. There's I was hoping we'd have some people here by now. We'll give it a little bit. Kind of an odd time for me to go this early. It's just I have a lot of stuff I have to do today. So usually I do this, around 9 most time. But let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'm your host. If you're here, please say hello whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. And part of the reason that I was hoping people would be here is because this is an important message today. So my wife's ex-husband passed last night. I know people are always curious, even though we don't want to ask. It was a seizure. Now, he's a little bit older than me. But, and we don't have the type of family. I never shit talk that guy. No. He dealt with some mental illnesses that were beyond his control. So even when it came to child support, nah. We told them he paid it all. because, you know, if they would have did if they did to him what they did to me, it would have sent him off the deep end. He wouldn't have had time to spend with his kids and his grandkids and his parents, and because he had to live with his parents. He didn't have a choice. And he was a good guy. But I'm mostly concerned about my kids and my grandkids. I have one grandson he's devastated. You see, I got, give me a second. My mom and my grandpa got into it, and I've always been very protective of my mom, but I'm also a defiant shit. And they had made up, but I was not willing to forgive him. Give me a second. Sorry about that. Hi, Patricia. It's good to see you. I'm glad you could make it. I'm crying this morning soon. Just and now I'm at a snot rags. Um, when my grandfather passed, there was still angst there, and it is something I've always regretted. You know, I can't even remember what happened. So yeah, my grandson is pretty upset because he can't remember the last time he saw him. That when you're young, you just don't understand. You don't quite get it. And so when something like this happens, um, you know, there's a couple of things going on. Number one, I need to make sure that I'm there for my wife. I mean, I understand it's an ex-husband, but I told her this morning, I'm like, I know you're gonna have feelings around this. It's not like we hate the guy. There was never hate about it. Sure, he made some mistakes, but fuck, who am I to give people crap about their mistakes? So, um, God bless him, and I know he went to heaven. Um, and it's affecting me like this because my kids are going through stuff. So, I didn't know him very well. I mean, I knew him as well as much as, two husbands can, you know. Um, but we were always kind and everything to each other. But we can't live our life in anger. We can't hold on to it. We can't. Watching families divide hurts. And there's been a little division in my family, and I hope this helps everybody recognize that it's not worth it. Um, I had a granddaughter, she slept over last night, and I'm going to start crying. I don't mean to, but and my wife was telling me that it's because she wants to. I'm the only grandpa left, and boy, did I feel the weight. Felt the weight on that one. Kind of scares me. Um, but no decisions have to be made right now. Nothing really needs to be done right now. My job is to be there. at this point, right? So I don't expect that this one will be too awfully long, but I think that probably brings us to what? The ninth step. Ninth step, I think, is where my brain goes to. You know, because it's quite often that I hear in AA meetings, I'm going to give a good example here. The man that raised me, he doesn't want much to do with me, and I understand. I get it. Um, please keep in mind that he did the best that he could with what he had to work with, and I was a wee bit out of control, we could say, just just a little bit. All right, cats are going a little nuts. I don't think they know what's going on. But there were things that I don't know. Is it his job to? No, no. That I had to get to a point where I could forgive him. You know, he's gotten older. He tried to work on his anger. But to him, he's like, I'm too old to do whatever. I never think you're too old to heal. You know, so I had to take care of that anger myself. And the things that were, I don't want to say done to me, but done to me. Was it fair? No. Do I love who I am today? Yes. Would I be who I am today if that wouldn't have happened? No. See where I'm getting to on that? If he was to pass, tomorrow, I wouldn't have any regrets. I'm not saying I wouldn't be, I'll be sad, and I don't know. It's hard for me to decide that right now. Okay, but I can't hold any anger towards him anymore. I can't I can't hold on to that, because what happens is I'll hold on to that anger, and it will become an evil corroding thread that could destroy my soul, and I'm not willing to go there anymore. I'm not willing to live a life of regret, of shame, of blame, and I ain't going to do guilt. You know, in the last week, people have put some of their guilt on me. I can understand it. I can get it. I get where they're coming from. For me, you know, I wasn't the best father. I was an absentee father. And that is, I gotta say, there's still some regret there. Um, Guilt, not so much. Am I a bad father? No, I'm not. Was I the best father? No, I wasn't. And it's just fact. Does it hurt a little bit to admit it? Sure. Sure, it hurts. Hurts a little less each time, though. You know? Can I blame myself for having alcoholism? No. No. All right. Let's read some of the ninth step in the 12 by 12 and see if we can find some answers to some of this anger or these negative feelings that we hold on to. So it's just what my gut told me to read. So we're going to be in the 12 by 12. May direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Good judgment, a careful sense of timing, courage, and prudence. These are the qualities we shall need in step 9. What is prudence? Let's look up prudence. No, because I got something set up on that. No, that's okay. I can just go back to it. No, hold on. Definition of prudence.
Here's the definition of prudence: the quality of being prudent, cautiousness.
Cautious. When they, okay, using the word in a sentence does not give me the explanation. Give me the definition. This isn't a spelling bee. It's so cautious, which is pretty much what I thought it was. So, after we made a list of people we had harmed, have reflected carefully upon each instance. We have tried to possess ourselves of the right attitude in which to proceed. We will see that the making of direct amends divide those who we should approach into several classes. There will be those who ought to be dealt with just as soon as we become reasonably confident that we can maintain our sobriety. There will be those to whom we can make only partial restitution. Less complete disclosures do them or others more harm than good. There will be other cases where action ought to be deferred, and still others in which, by the very nature of the situation, we will never, ever be able to make direct personal contact at all. Those are going to be the hard ones. Or maybe they'll give you a sense of relief. So that's the feelings that I got when I went through that. Most of us make certain kinds of direct amends from the day we join Alcoholics Anonymous. This is what we would call the living amends. The moment we tell our families that we are really going to try the program, the process has begun. In this area, there are seldom any questions of timing or caution. We want to come in the door shouting the good news. After coming home from our first meeting, or perhaps we have finished reading the book Alcoholics Anonymous, we usually want to sit down with some member of the family and readily admit the damage we have done by our drinking. Now, this is kind of what I was just talking about. I gave all my kids the chance to sit down with me and just tell me everything they were mad about, everything they were angry about. I thought it was the best way to do the ninth step with them. And my job was to shut up and listen. And I did, and it hurts. Right? Why does it hurt? Because it's true. It was true. But once we got through the truth, we were able to heal. Okay? And I'm willing to do those hard things for my children. Yes, I am. I'm willing to do them for God's children. It can be tough. Almost always we want to go further and admit other defects that have made us hard to live with. This will be a very different occasion, and in sharp contrast with those hangover mornings, we are always alternating between reveling ourselves and blaming the family and everyone else for our troubles. At this first sitting, it is necessary only that we make the general admission of our defects. It may be unwise at this stage to rehash certain harrowing episodes. I was taught not to get into particulars, and I understand that very, very well. You remember that one time I did this to you? Oh, now we're going to bring up anger. And what is that? That's me bringing up anger, and I cannot do it at somebody else's expense. That is not for me. And not only that, but if this is your first sitting and you just got sober, you don't know what your character defects are yet. I would recommend just becoming a better person each day. Go do the dishes, pick up the dog poop, do the laundry, do what you were supposed to be doing all along, and do not go back and get recognition for it. We do not get thanked for taking out the trash. It is part of the chores and it needs to be done. While we may be, good judgment will suggest we ought to take our time. While we may be quite willing to reveal the very worst, we must be sure to remember we cannot buy our own peace of mind at the expense of others. It won't work. It's an inside job. Much the same approach will apply at the office or factory. We shall at once think of a few people who know all about our drinking and who have been most affected by it. But even in these cases, we may need to use a little more discretion than we did with the family. We may not want to say anything for several weeks or longer, for we will wish to be reasonably certain that they are in the AA beam. First, we will wish to be reasonably certain we are on the AA beam, not them. Then we are ready to go to these people to tell them what AA is and what we are trying to do. Against this background, we can freely admit the damage we have done and make our apologies. We can pay or promise to pay whatever obligation, financial or otherwise, we owe. The generous response of most people to such quiet sincerity will often astonish us. Even our severest and most justified critics will frequently meet us more than halfway on the first trial. You know, when you bring something to justice, it gets exciting for other people. And they tend to want to be a part of it. People want to belong. And they'd rather go home feeling better, right? This atmosphere of approval and praise is apt to be so exhilarating as to put us off balance by creating an insatiable appetite for more or the same. Okay. Yes, we got to be careful. Each one's going to be different. The reaction may be different. And because one went well doesn't mean that the rest are. So we cannot have expectations. We got to keep our feelings out of it. It's kind of hard. But the freedom of admitting it to the other person, creating that justice, it lifts something off of you. Right? Sorry. I'm sad. So, or we may be tipped in the other direction, when in rare cases we get a cool and skeptical reception. This will tempt us to argue or press our point insistently, or maybe it will tempt us to discouragement and pessimism. But if we prepared ourselves well in advance, such reactions will not deflect us from our steady and even purpose. Yeah. What, you think you're doing it for the other person? Is that what you think? No, I'm not God. I'm not God. Am I doing it for the other person? No, I'm doing it for me. Kind of selfish, right? It's the right kind of selfish. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm admitting my faults, and that is for me. That isn't, I don't admit my faults freely so that other people can judge me, because I know they are. Okay? I admit my faults so that I can go to bed at night, rest my head, and get a good night's sleep. So that I don't have to sit there and worry, right? So that it isn't that black cloud looming over my head that I know I need to get taken care of, and it seems like everybody else can see through it. It makes me feel like a horrible person, and I can't live that way, right? And is it partly for them? Sure, yeah. Yes. But you got to do it for yourself. Okay? You can't do the program for other people. You can get sober for any reason, but you got to do the program for you. It's my side of the street that I'm cleaning, not theirs. Okay? It is my problems I'm dealing with, not theirs. After taking this preliminary trial at making amends, we may enjoy such a sense of relief that we conclude our task is finished. We will want to rest on our laurels. The temptation to skip the more humiliating and dreaded meetings that will still remain may be great. We often manufacture plausible excuses for dodging these issues entirely, or we may just procrastinate, telling ourselves the time is not yet, when in reality we have already passed up many a fine chance to right a serious wrong. Let's not talk prudence while practicing evasion. Okay, step 9 is never finished. From my understanding, well, it might be finished someday, but you don't stay on step 9. No, you continue. This will last a good chunk of your life, maybe a lifetime. If you're older like me, it might last a lifetime. Get through those hard ones. Get through the harrowing ones first. Put them at the top of your list. Start with the hard. But I need to practice. Practice on what? They're different human beings. There is no there to you and your perception, it's a bigger one, but really all problems are the same size. Right? It's our perception and what we're doing with it and stuff. As soon as we begin to feel confident in our new way of life and have begun by our behavior and example to convince those about us that we are indeed changing for the better, it is usually safe to talk in complete frankness with those who have been seriously affected, even those who may be or only a little or not at all aware of what we have done to them. The only exception we will make will be cases where our disclosure would cause actual harm. These conversations can begin in a casual or natural way, but if no such opportunity presents itself, at some point we will want to summon all our courage, head straight for the persons concerned, and lay our cards on the table. We needn't wallow in excessive remorse before those we have harmed, but amends at this level should always be forthright and generous. Okay. Now, here's the difference. I really, this is a person doing an amends that hasn't done 1 through 8. I'm so sorry. I should have done that. And no, I'm probably not even going to say sorry. They're tired of my sorries. They don't hear sorry. There's only one thing. It's change behavior. Hey, you know what? I did some pretty bad shit in my life. I'm sure you're aware of it. But I decided I don't want to be that person anymore. So I went and changed. I went and became a different person so that I'm not that person anymore. And now I'm coming back to let you know that I am not going to do that to somebody else again. That is justice. That is an amends. How they take it is theirs, not yours. It takes 2 to tango. Now, if they want to admit their faults and go through the same process, then great, 2 people have healed. And isn't that glorious? Because you had courage. Now they may have the courage to go do it to other people. See how that's going to affect things? They may want what you have. Oh shit. Look at it. Did you ever look at it the way that you're the one carrying the message now? That you're the one that has God in his hip pocket, that you're the one with the experience, strength, and hope, that you're walking around with courage. Did you know that you were the one doing that? You got to be that person. Okay. Because before, what were we showing? We were showing a bad example and they were watching. Well, when you're being a good example, they're watching too. There can be only one consideration we should qualify our desire for complete disclosure of the damage we have done. That will arise out of the occasional situation where we make a full revelation, would seriously harm the one to whom we are making amends, or quite as important, other people. We cannot, for example, unload a detailed account of extramarital adventuring upon the shoulders of our unsuspecting wife or husband. And even in those cases where such a matter must be discussed, let's try avoid harming third parties, whoever they may be. It does not lighten our burden when we recklessly make the crosses of others heavier. I can't dump my shit on other people. Okay? That includes meetings. I know we want to talk about our problems. I know, in a setting where it feels safe and where we might get answers. But an AA group is not one of them. It's not. That's, you're just going to get a bunch of different opinions and judgments. There might be something in particular, but when it's day after day, you can't expect an AA group to solve your problem. You can't expect anybody to solve your problems. There's only one person in this world that can solve your problems, and that's you. Nobody else can do it for you. They can try, but without the work, without the effort, it won't happen. It won't work. Again, we must do this for ourselves. Many a razored edge question can arise out of the departments of life where the same principle is involved. Suppose, for instance, we have drunk up a good chunk of the firm's money, whether by borrowing or on a heavily padded expense account. Suppose that this may continue to go undetected if we say nothing. Do we instantly confess our irregularities to the firm, to the practical certainty that we will be fired and become unemployable? Or are we going to be so rigidly righteous about making amends that we don't care what happens to family and home? Or do we first consult those who are gravely affected? Do we lay the matter before our sponsor or spiritual advisor, earnestly asking God's help and guidance? Meanwhile, resolving to do the right thing when it becomes clear, cost what it may. Of course, there is no pat answer for which can fit all such dilemmas, but all of them do require complete willingness to make amends as fast and as far as may be possible in a given set of conditions. Above all, we should try to be absolutely sure that we are not delaying because we are afraid. For the readiness to take full consequences of our past acts and to take responsible for the well-being of others at the same time is the very spirit of step 9. All right, that's what I got on this one. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out.